In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah, who appeared to us in the person of Master Fard Muhammad.
That's right, that's right.
I further bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the exalted Christ and the Messiah, and that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is their divine reminder, our divine reminder, teacher, warner, the Jesus that we've all been looking for, and he is here in our midst.
Yes, that's right.
In their names, I greet you, all in our words, in our nation's greeting words, in our original language of Arabic.
That's right, that's right.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, man.
Which means peace be unto you. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our student regional minister, Brother Abdul Sharif Muhammad, for allowing me an opportunity to share a few words with you this evening. I would also like to thank our ministry class for giving me this awesome opportunity. Well, this is a challenge, but I'm up for the challenge. And I would have zero to say if it was not for the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad as taught to us by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So I thank them for giving me a voice. Praise be to Allah. So, the Zaki kind of opened it up for me, right? The power of love.
Come on now.
The power of love. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, there was a video circulating on Facebook. I think they took it down, but I caught it. And the words that I caught that he says, if we love, our differences will diminish as our love grows stronger.
Good teach.
So, Sister talked about unity, she talked about marriage, and we talked about coming together as one.
That's right.
In order to come together as one, we have to dissolve the differences.
That's right.
And the only way we can do that is if we love. How do we love God if we don't know him?
Good question, good question.
How do we love one another if we don't know them? How do we love self if we do not know self? You know, I brought my Quran and my Bible,
That's right.
right?
That's right.
The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan always shows us an example. He says, there's healing in these wings.
That's right. That's right.
So the only way that you can get healing is you got to open the book.
That's right. Come on now.
Right? There's nothing in this, nothing with it closed. Because all you got is the front and the back. There's nothing in here. By looking at it like this, you have to open these books.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
In order to get the medicine that has been prescribed for us.
Talk about that. Yes, ma'am.
He says we talk God, but we really don't know who he is. And if we don't know God, then we really do not know love.
That's right.
He says we don't love deep enough to want to see our people free. And if we don't love deep enough to clean up our life, then we will never become the recipient of his mind and his spirit.
That's right.
We have to learn what love is.
That's right.
It's not that shallow stuff we talk about. Oh, I love you.
Teach on it. Teach on it.
You know, oh, you so fine.
Teach
I
on
love you.
it. That's how we talk.
Oh, baby, that meal was good. I love you.
Right.
That's shallow.
Come on.
In order to learn how to love, we have to do an intentional and deep study of self.
Come on. Come on now.
Because we cannot love our brothers and sisters, and we cannot even love God more than we love self. So we got to take an analysis.
Yes, ma'am. That's right.
So as I'm speaking this evening, I just want you all to take an analysis
Yes, ma'am.
of areas of your life, of you personally, that you don't like, that you're at odds with, that you want to fix.
Yes, ma'am.
And those are the areas that need love.
Come on.
As LL Cool J would say, I need love. Let's get more acquainted with love.
That's right. That's right.
Now, I'm going to repeat this throughout. But Jesus said, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Come on.
And on these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets.
Go ahead.
So the basis of their mission, the basis of their message was based on these two commandments.
Come on.
The basis of the law that we have been given by Almighty God is on these two commandments.
Come on.
But these two commandments mean nothing if we don't love self.
Right.
Because I can't love God
Right.
without a proper knowledge and love of self. I cannot love you
Good teaching. Good teaching.
if I don't have a love for myself.
That's right.
The world talks about love. But to understand love is to understand the core out of which God operates. He says love, Minister Farrakhan, love is not an emotion.
All right.
It's not that tender feeling that one gets in the heart when you see someone you're attracted to.
Walk it down.
Uh-oh.
We're not talking about the love on a base level.
Yes, ma'am.
He says the scripture says God is love. And when you see the verb is, which cannot take an object and which represents a state of being, then whatever is on one side of that is equal to the other.
That's right.
It's like an equation, right?
Yeah, come on.
So
That's right.
God equals love.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, if you say God is love, then love is God.
That's right.
Love is that creative force out of which the universe came. When we go outside and we look outside, do we actually look at it in that sense?
Think about it.
God loves me, so he created the universe for me. The sun exists for me.
Right.
Watch out,
Come
man.
on.
Watch out.
The moon exists for me,
Right.
as well as these stars.
Right.
He created them for zero other reason but to justify their existence, which is to help you and I in our path of life.
Yes, ma'am.
Love is also that creative force that gave motion to matter.
Right.
Out of love, God created himself.
Walk it down now.
Come on.
And he went through that painful process,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, man.
which we don't know how long it took him to create himself.
Hey.
But out of that process, he recognized something. There's something missing.
Watch out.
He then went through another painful process to pull out of himself his second self.
Come on. Wake us up. Wake us up. Wake us up.
Sister,
Wake us up.
that's you.
Come on. Wake us up. Wake us up.
God made nothing into something. He took the black man and woman who was the loveless people, who was considered, I'm saying was,
That's
because
right.
that's past tense, right?
That's right. Come on.
Who was considered nothing and is making us daily into something.
Yes, ma'am.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Love is that creative force out of which law and order, sustenance, maintenance, and the reproduction of all things.
Come on now.
We have law out of love.
Come on.
Teach.
Talk
Teach.
about the law.
Otherwise, we at odds with one another. Otherwise, I'm crossing one side of the street to the other without regard to the oncoming traffic.
That's right. That's right.
I'm stepping on your toes without regard to you or how you feel because there's no law.
That's right. You teach.
But out of love, there's a law.
Yes, ma'am.
And in order for that law to perfect itself, there has to be order. So there's rules of engagement.
Come on.
Right. Come on.
There's a structure to the law.
Yes, ma'am.
Teaching.
He gave us sustenance. We think about all the creatures of the earth, right?
Yes,
None of them go and say, hey, I'm hungry to the government,
ma'am. Right.
right?
Talk about it.
None of them go to housing and look for, need a roof over their head.
Right.
No, he put in this universe out of love everything to suffice the need of his creatures.
That's right.
So everything is sustained out of his love.
Teach hard.
Everything is maintained out of his love.
Good teach. Good teach.
This earth revolves on its axis at 1,037 1/3 miles per hour. That's maintenance, right?
Yes, ma'am.
We have zero anything to do with that.
Right.
We just bet that when I wake up, this earth will still be spinning.
Right. Go ahead. Yes, ma'am. Right.
Right?
Good teacher. Good teacher. Good teacher.
Out of love,
Yes, ma'am.
God makes our existence comfortable.
That's right.
He shakes it up every now and again, you know, when you got those earthquakes and natural disasters and things like that. He shakes it up,
Yes, ma'am.
but it's for our reflection. But how many of us reflect on why he shakes things up? God is love. So again, the topic was power of love, right?
Yes, ma'am.
In the Cambridge Online Dictionary, it's defined as a verb. Power means to provide something with the energy it needs to operate.
Come on.
What is love? The dictionary defines it as a great interest and pleasure in something. And I'm going to say in one word, it's a law. That's the simplified, right?
Yeah.
What is love? It's a law.
That's right.
Now, that's represented as a noun, which is a person or place or a thing. And if we look at it as a verb, it's also used to describe as an action, a state, or an occurrence. The Apostle Paul in 1 Corinthians 13:4, he says, now we're just going to get into a little meat of love, right? I love Corinthians.
Come on. Come on. Come on. Yes, ma'am.
You know, because it gives us some description of love,
Yes, ma'am.
you know, so we can put it into something tangible,
Come on.
right?
Come on.
Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast, and it is not proud. The perfect example of that kind of love is Job.
Yes, man.
Job was patient
Yes.
throughout all. There ain't no such thing as too patient. We want to become patient because that's the only way we're going to take plenty.
That's right. Come on.
That's right.
As messengers, as saviors for God's people,
Go ahead.
that's the only way.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. That's right.
That's what
You
love.
on it. You on it.
With everything that Satan put on Job, took his family, took his money, took his livestock, took his home, took his health,
Right. Come on.
took his wife, and his wife cursed him.
Right.
Cursed that God.
That's right.
Look what he's doing to you.
Right.
Do we got people like that in our corner? Look at us in our woes of situations and do not encourage us to actually go to God,
Right. Hello. Hello.
but encourages us in our frustration.
Hello.
But Job didn't. He didn't listen. He stayed the course. He remained patient and faithful, and in his remaining steadfast in that condition, Allah blessed him.
Yes, ma'am.
Not just with what he had, he doubled and tripled and quadrupled everything that Satan took away from Job.
Wow.
God gave it back to
That's
him.
right. That's right. That's right.
We want God to bless us, right?
That's right.
But we got to be patient through trial.
Man.
We still have to remain kind
Right.
during trial,
Come on.
Damn.
right?
Teach on
That's
that.
not a condition where I got to be mean to you. I got, because I'm feeling some kind of way today.
Right. Come on.
Teach. That's a good teaching.
No sirs, no ma'ams. No sirs, no ma'ams.
Right. Come on. Teacher.
Now, envy is not something we can really see,
Right.
but it doesn't envy. It doesn't boast. I'm not bragging about what God may have blessed me with, because the moment he gave it to me, he could take it away.
Come on.
And
Come on.
I only have it because of him.
That's right.
So if I'm not including him in everything that I have attained
Come on.
by his permission, then I'm boasting.
That's right.
Teach
Go
hard.
ahead. Go ahead.
Good teach. Good teach.
And it's not proud. We don't walk around with our heads in the air because we have supreme wisdom.
You want it, yeah. You want it, yeah.
Because we walk around in these garments and bow ties.
Uh-oh.
Right.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Because we think we know a little something. We might got a little money.
Right.
No, we don't walk. Love doesn't do that. Love does not do that.
Right.
I'm not going to say we, I'm saying love. Love does not do that.
Yeah.
1 Corinthians 13:5, it says, it does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no records of wrongs. Sister talked about atonement, right?
Uh-oh. That's right. That's right. I got quiet. Right?
Oftentimes we don't go. Praise be to Allah. Oftentimes we don't go to atone with one another because we want to hold on to something that they did to us.
Right. Go ahead.
You know, we want to discredit them,
That's right.
which is in a sense dishonoring that person.
Right. Go ahead.
You know, we always looking at me. Look what they did to me.
Right.
So it's always self-seeking, self-centered. It's always about me.
Go ahead. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
We want to hold on to anger. Keep a record of wrong. And that record go back 30 years. I'm sure. Because that's the most thing that we remember. We remember what was done wrong to us.
That's right.
But you can't never remember the good that came out of it. Because in that wrong, God is showing us something.
Come on. Go ahead.
It's a lesson that we need to learn.
Go ahead.
Not the other person.
Right.
Because why did it happen to you? Do we actually question God in that manner?
Why?
What do I need to learn in this situation? And where was my fault
Right. Talk
in
about
what
that
took
one.
place?
That's right.
Because when we point, got them 3 pointing it back at you.
Yeah.
So really, you were at greater fault in what took place. Why? Because of the way you responded to the pain.
He's hard.
Love
Go ahead.
does not dishonor. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered, and it keeps no record. The two most repeated attributes of God in the Holy Quran are contained in these words. Bismillah Rahman Rahim. In the name of God, the beneficent, the merciful. These two attributes, beneficence and mercy, have a single root out of which they spring. That root is love.
That's right.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
So in the New Testament, we get the words, God is love.
That's right.
Is God not beneficent to us? Is he not merciful? Does he not continually show us grace after grace after grace? This is out of his love for us because he could easily chastise every single one of us, right?
That's
and
right.
wipe the planet clean and start all over again.
All over. All over.
But because his love is not easily angered, because most times he doesn't keep a record of wrong, he allows us an opportunity to right self,
Right.
to correct self, to really love self, because when we're doing otherwise, it's a lack of love for self.
That's right. That's right. Good teaching.
Jesus said, I and my Father are one. He is saying that God's greatest grace, love, to man is to give him guidance and wisdom to grow man into himself. Man is no longer man, but becomes a manifestation of God. So he shares his attributes with us out of love. Why? Because I want you to have what I have. I want you to have half of my bowl of bean soup.
That's right. Come on now. Teach on the beans. Come on.
So I share my attributes with you,
Yes, man.
so that you can pull out of yourself that which I pulled out of myself and become a God.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Think about that though. Ain't that something? That he is God Almighty, but he doesn't want to stand in that position alone. He wants to share this beneficence of himself,
Wow.
this majesty of himself, this beauty of him. He wants to share this with you and I.
Teach hard. Sid.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Do we willingly accept, or do we fight what God has given us to become the God that he desires us to be?
Thank you for reminding me.
Wrong.
1 Corinthians 13:6 says, love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. Minister Farrakhan said, I cannot live without truth.
Right.
Now, the word live is interchangeable with love.
Uh-oh.
I cannot love without truth.
Right.
So if I don't want to settle on the truth, evil will arise. And it doesn't have to be something extreme, but evil is evil. It's just wrong. It's a sin.
That's right. Yes, ma'am.
It goes back to everything that love is not.
Yes, ma'am.
1 Corinthians 13:7, it says, it always protects. It always trusts. It always hopes. It always perseveres. Love. We got to go back to that idea of love
Yes, ma'am.
when we're going through something. When we think about protection,
Yes, ma'am.
that comes out of love.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Trusting. We've been a people that have gone through a lot.
Right.
And we have built a level of distrust within ourselves, really mostly of our own self,
Right.
because we constantly show that we still love his enemy.
Come on.
I have to say that.
Yes, right. Go ahead. Say it. Say it.
Come on.
Teach the truth.
Only teach now.
But once we begin to learn to trust self, and let me say it like this, let me put it plain. Oh, I'm fasting today. Yeah, I'm going to fast today. Oh, my head hurt. I think I need something to eat. I'm going to just eat this cracker. That's easily, we go, that's a lack of trust in self. We don't trust ourselves enough to just fast
Yes, ma'am.
and make it through the day
Go ahead.
after we have made a promise to ourselves.
Right.
I don't have to say I promised to fast. The statement alone was, I am going to fast. That was the promise.
Right.
Mom.
And we broke our own trust, our own promise,
Don't be guilty. We guilty. We guilty.
Yes.
because we don't trust self.
Right.
trust self.
Don't trust self. Go ahead. Good teaching. Hey. Go ahead. Yeah.
Love always hopes, you know. But we are a faithless people. You know, the moment that we're going through something, all hell breaks loose. You know, the world is over. What am I going to do? Woe is me.
Right. Talk about that. Talk about it. Woe is me.
We have no hope in tomorrow because we have no faith or trust in God today. We have no love. And it always perseveres. It continuously goes, and we have persevered as a people. Let me give us some credit, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
We have gone through the worst condition that any people ever went through on this planet.
That's right.
That's perseverance.
That's right. That's
So
right.
we got to know that we are made
right.
of a material that can get through difficulty.
That's right.
But we got to learn to love self.
Right. Listen.
And we got to learn to reflect that God put everything that we need within us to get us through. Minister Farrakhan said, I, like my teacher, I looked beyond your faults and I saw your need. He says, I never try to judge you as crazy as you are because I love you. I just can't help myself. I was born to love you. My teacher told me, like his teacher told him, brother, take plenty. Take plenty.
Right. That's right.
And he has,
Right.
I have taken plenty and I don't complain. How many of us complain because somebody driving too slow in front of us? Just slow down. Switch lanes. Right? We over there, they can't even hear us fussing in the car.
Right. We just fussing.
We just complaining.
Right.
But we have the ability to change that reality.
That's right.
Just slow down.
That's it. That's all you got.
Just switch lanes. I'm guilty. I'm so guilty.
That's right.
But that was my first analogy. That came to mind. We just find little things to complain about
Right.
for really no reason.
None. None.
We have to expand our breasts, and in order for our breasts to expand, God has to put something on us.
Right. That's right.
The only way we gonna gain patience is through trial and difficulty.
That's right. Yes, ma'am. Come
It's
on.
not through ease, and it's not through ease.
That's right. Good teacher.
The only way we gonna know that I recognize this situation. I kind of went through it before, so I kind of have a little bit of understanding that I can get through, or I just got faith that God gonna see me through.
That's right.
And because I have that faith, because I have that love of God, I won't complain.
Right.
He saw me through everything else. Why would I doubt him now?
All
All
right.
right. Good teacher.
Praise be to Allah. 1 Corinthians 8-10. Love never fails. You hear that?
Say it again. Say it.
Love never fails.
Yes,
hard.
ma'am.
It's
Yes,
hard.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Never.
But where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when completeness comes, what is in part disappears. What happens when all else fails? There's what?
Islam.
Say it again.
Islam.
When all else fails,
Islam prevails.
love still exists in Islam.
That's right.
We have to hold on to that mighty rope that never fails. And it says love. God never fails. He never fails us. But we fail him daily. Did y'all get up for prayer today? I gotta touch on it.
Uh-oh.
Did you say all 5 of them? Since you got up for the morning one, did you say the other 4? Let me go and put that out there.
Striving.
Okay, we striving. Did we just thank Allah for getting from point A to point B? Because maybe we can't get down and do our rak'ahs, but do we show some grace and some gratitude?
It's hard. It's
Got
hard.
to. Got to.
So in these moments, we have to recognize God, and this is how we grow the love for us to him.
Yes, ma'am.
It's by recognizing him in everything.
That's right.
Not some things, but everything.
Everything.
In 1 Corinthians 13:1, it says, if I speak in tongues, the tongues of men or of angels, but do not have love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal.
Right.
It's hard.
13:2, if I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have not faith, and I can have faith, actually I can have faith that can move mountains. But if I do not have love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and give over my body to hardship, that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. So we can know this word. We can speak the languages of men. But if I don't have love in my heart when I'm speaking, then there is no response to that. Right? Think about we go try to get a guest. Or some guests may come. But they don't feel the love.
Right. Talk about
Why?
that.
Because we just lip professing.
Right.
It's not here. There's the love is not for self in here.
Thank you.
So if I don't love myself, I cannot transmit or express that love to my brother or my sister. So oftentimes it becomes a revolving door.
Reminder is a blessing.
I can see what's going to happen tomorrow. To get the prophecy, right? I can explain all the mysteries of the world. How to stuff. I can explain when God created himself and how long it took. I can move that mountain. Is there a mountain in Georgia? Listen, Stone Mountain. I can move Stone Mountain. Stone Mountain. But if I don't have love, I am nothing. That means you are unimportant. What that mean? Well, you know, who cares that you could do all that? You don't got no love.
Wow.
You know, then you get mad. You get all in your feelings. I just did all this, and then, you know, and then they're going to tell me, so what? I'm something. I'm something. We can go and give charity. We can go feed the homeless. We can go do all these different services. I can be like Job, meaning going through the hardship, not his heart, not his faith. We just going through the hardship. But if I don't have love, I don't gain anything out of that. Why? Because I don't see what God is trying to do for me out of my service to his people. I don't see what God is trying to bring out of me through the hardships that I go through. So I gain nothing because I'm back to the woe is me.
Come on.
What is the core of it all? Love. John 15:12-13, he says, this is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. What man do we know is doing that? And some of us, most of us, he ain't never met. But he laying down his life for us. That's love.
Real love. Real love.
That's God love, right? I mean, that's God in this man showing you and I what we need to do for one another, lay down our life for one another. But we cannot do that if we do not have a love for self.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
1 Corinthians 13:11, it says, when I was a child, I talked like a child.
That's right.
I thought like a child.
Right.
I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me. In a lecture, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan did, it talked about the two great commandments, which is love God with all thy heart, soul, strength, mind. Love thy neighbor. But he also talks about our needs and the sufficing of a need, but that's not necessarily love. So oftentimes we come to these organizations, the Nation of Islam Church, you know, we might join the Alphas, the Omegas, you know, but we go to suffice a need. I need to feel like I belong somewhere. You know, I need to feel validated. I need love. I need something from that organization. And oftentimes we stay there as long as the need is sufficed. And we might do the works.
Whoa, look, Mike.
I say might. You know, we might come to the mosque on Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, right? We might come to the mosque. You know, we might give in charity. But we stay and we do some works only because we have a need that we have to be fulfilled, but those works are not necessarily considered out of love. Our love is absolutely conditional. As long as you're providing a need, fulfilling a service, I'm here. And I will say I love you.
Wow.
Good teaching.
Look at that.
We say we love the minister, the messenger, Master Fard Muhammad. Why? Because of what we're being taught, right? We're given tools and we're able to be recognized in a certain sense. There's something that tells us we love them because they have done something for us. What have we done in return?
Good question.
Our love has to grow. It has to mature. It has to evolve.
Yes, ma'am.
We have to do some self-analysis.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, I don't care how long you've been in the ranks, but we need to go back and assess from the time that we came in to our point in time now, or whatever organizations we might be a part of, or just life in general. And we need to see where we have evolved, grown, or matured, how we love.
Come on.
Is it the same?
Come on.
Has my patience grown stronger or has it waned?
One or the other.
Am I doing more works to service the people or has my activities become less?
Good question. Good question. Think about it.
So we have to do some self-analysis on how deep our love is.
Think about it.
Come on, Tuesday.
There's a Final Call article the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan did. It says, releasing the power of God within mind, body, and soul. He says the power to release what is within starts with knowledge. The knowledge of Allah is number one.
Number one.
The knowledge of self is number two. These two areas of knowledge are inseparable.
Yes, ma'am.
Meaning you can't have the knowledge of God and not attain the knowledge of self and vice versa.
Right.
Says without the knowledge of God, you can't see your relationship or connection with Him.
Yes, ma'am.
And that damages our ability to release the power within. Without trust in Allah or faith in Allah, we cannot release the power within. When we have a love for, a knowledge of, and a faith in Allah, that's the beginning of our release of power. We see snippets every now and again, right? Of our power.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
I don't say snippets, you see when you making some things happen, moving,
Yes, ma'am.
and things just going in your favor. You see this,
Yes, ma'am.
but it's not continual, right? But if we look at the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, we can see his evolutionary increase in his release of power. Why? Because in his activities, once it comes out his mouth, it takes a shorter amount of time for him to accomplish the goal.
Uh-oh.
That's power.
Yeah. Right. Come on.
That's God.
That's right. That's that. Come on now.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. 1 Corinthians 13:12, it says, for now we see only a reflection as in a mirror. Then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. This is God being known through Jesus, the works of Jesus. Because Jesus was a bearer, a witness of God. He was He is the manifestation. I'm going to talk about present time.
Yes, ma'am.
He is the manifestation of God in flesh.
Yes, ma'am.
In How to Message to the Black Man, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, the root cause of hate, disunity, disagreement,
Right. Come on.
quarreling,
Right.
betraying,
Right.
stool pigeons,
Go ahead.
fighting and killing one another
Right.
is not having a love of self.
Root.
The root.
Root.
So I argue with you because I don't got no love for me. I'm going to betray you because I don't have no love for me. I'm not going to connect with you. I'm not going to work to get land, build businesses. Right? I want to say disunited.
Right. Yes, ma'am. Come on.
Only because I don't have a love for me. I don't want to see that for myself, so I definitely ain't going to want to see it for you.
Good teaching. I can
Jesus said unto him,
Right.
thou shalt love thy Lord, thy God, with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments
Yes, ma'am.
hang all the law and the prophets.
Yes, ma'am.
Minister Farrakhan says you cannot love people or God more than we love ourselves. He says the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the greatest message that you and I can receive. Why? Greatest message. Because in it is a profound knowledge of God, and a profound knowledge of self.
That's right. That's right.
We can't even feel the power of love, more or less express the power of love without having love for self. And that only comes with the knowledge of self. So we have all this body of knowledge that will show us how to love self, that will teach us the love of self. And once we acquire that, we will begin to do much greater works, because Jesus said, these works that I do, ye can do, and also greater.
Greater works.
Why does Jesus do the works that he does? Why does the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, why is he so successful?
Right. Right. Come on.
Because he loves
Come on.
himself.
Right.
Now he will say, though, in a lecture I listened to, he said it took him almost up until the age of 70 before he learned how to love himself. Now some of you say, that's a long time, right? Dang, is it going to take me that long? He says, it's better to learn to love self at the age of 70 than never to learn to love at all.
Oh, yeah.
The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, he said, in a moment that he was going through his sickness, this is when he began to learn to love self, because Allah had to slow him down and give him an opportunity to reflect.
Right.
He says, and in that hour is when he really became acquainted with his children. He really got to know who they were. So we think about the adversities in our life. Do we take time to reflect, to analyze, to study self?
Purification.
Because we know that there's a lack of something as to why we're going through the adversity. We know that there's something that our hands did, or maybe even not. Maybe just God allowed it to happen. But in that moment, there's still a learning opportunity to learn all about you. Not the who put you there. Or, because generally it's you, but still go back to God, you know. But we don't never hate on God, right? We ain't go, oh God, man, why you do this to me? No, we want to look at the man behind him, the power company, right? I lost my job because of my coworker, you know. Not because you was coming in to work late all the time. You know, your power off. Not because you didn't, you know, not only because you didn't pay the bill.
Right.
And you had the money, but you rather buy that outfit or the pair of shoes. You know, but we don't look at the cause. We only look at the effect, right? We got to have a love for self. A love for self. So I ask us to, again, do a critical analysis, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan did, because he had to realize that he did not love Elijah. He did not love the mission. He did not love Allah as he thought he did. He said when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told him, you do this great commission and Allah will take care of your family, he didn't realize that he has to have balance, right? So he said he went to the extreme. And in that extreme, it caused him loss, pain, suffering. He said, and this is again, he said when he's close to about 70 is when he realized that I really didn't love him because I didn't really have a love for myself. He says, I can't love me. I can't love him. I can't love Allah if I'm not taking care of my family. If I'm not providing for my family, I can't say that I love the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad or that I love Allah and I'm neglecting other aspects of my life.
Yes, ma'am.
Self first,
Yes,
as the
ma'am.
Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches, then others.
That's right. That's right.
We don't neglect the mission, though. We just have to find a balance.
Struggle for balance. Struggle for balance.
Let it be where they balance. Talk about it.
Let me see struggle for balance. You said struggle for balance. I might got something on it. I ain't got it in here. That was yesterday. But you know what he said, his greatest hope? He had Khadijah. Mother Khadijah. Let's please give her a round of applause. He says, I know that she genuinely loved me. Because throughout it all, she never left my side. 1 Corinthians 13:13. It says, and now these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. It says, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. If God says this, then my mind, my heart, my soul, my strength is as infinite as God is. He says, then I can never find all. When he says all my mind, all my heart, all my soul, all my strength.
Everything.
Let this mind be in you.
Right.
What God is asking is not physical. When he's asking us to love him in this way, it's mental. And when we have the mental capacity to bear the load, there is nothing impossible.
Nothing.
And it's only out of love that we develop this capacity. We're taught with Christ, all things are possible.
That's right.
So if we look at him and we study him and we follow him and we bear our cross, then we will gain the ability to withstand a storm. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, this is a man the world cannot bother.
Come on.
So you see him standing in the midst of his enemies.
Right.
People that want to take his life.
Unbothered.
Mr. Beast.
That speak vile of him.
Right.
Lamb.
But he's unbothered.
The lamb.
Oh, man.
He treads forth doing the work that he's been commissioned to do. And you and I have been commissioned to do a work too. So don't think the load is on him.
That's right.
He does not bear this mission alone. God gives us the capacity to love with all.
Come on.
And we don't know what that is until God stretches us. God would not give us this type of commandment if we weren't able to do it.
Yes, ma'am.
Mother, for those that have children. Oh, I love this child. I don't know if I can ever love a child greater than I have love for this child until number 2 comes. You have the same type of love for that number 2 that you did for the number 1.
Yes, ma'am.
He's stretching you. Number 3 comes.
Expand the breath.
He's stretching you.
Yes,
Come
ma'am.
on.
And you still got love for number 3. Your love is not exhausted.
That's right.
Some of us got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Some of us. But your love is not exhausted, and we won't know how exhausted. There is no exhaustion.
Right.
We God.
We God.
Because he gives us the capacity to love.
That's right.
Love is not exhausted.
We go to physical therapy, right? Maybe we've been in a car accident or something, or we might have injured a ligament or a muscle. And, we gonna baby that thing, right?
Yes, ma'am.
We gonna put an ace bandage. I need some, as my son said, crunches. I need some crutches, right? I need some crying, we gonna baby that thing, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, no, ooh, don't, that hurt. That hurt, don't stretch it like that hurt. But the physical therapists, because they've done a study and they know how the ligaments and the muscles and the joints work,
They work. Right.
they know how to push you past that point that you don't think you can go
Come
past.
on. Good
That's
teacher.
that threshold. Come on.
They stretch you, right? And the more that you continue the practices, the exercises, the routines that they give you, the more flexible, the more stronger that ligament becomes again, right?
Yes, ma'am. That's right.
Any of us ever been in sports,
Yes, ma'am.
right?
Yep.
You got a coach Them coaches don't let up.
None.
You got this. You know, you ran track. He wants you at a 10-1. Right now, you at an 11. How the heck am I finna get to a 10-1? I can't do it. But he sees something in you that you don't see in yourself. So he puts you through conditions, trainings, practice that continues to allow you to improve your time.
Yes, ma'am.
Conditioning,
Come on.
right? It's all conditioning. So why are we loving with all? Why? Why does he give us this? Love me with all. Why should we love him with all our heart, mind, soul, and strength? Because we're indebted to him.
That's right.
Did he wake you up?
Yes, ma'am.
Your eyes blinking like mine blinking?
Yes, ma'am.
Your heart beating that you ain't got nothing to do with?
Yes, ma'am.
You know, some might be out of rhythm, some of us, you know, but it's okay. It's still beating, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You still able to come here and enjoy this evening with me tonight, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't see nobody in a wheelchair on crutches, right? So you used your 2 feet that God gave you, right?
That's right. That's right.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Also, your ears work too, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Praise be. Oh, look, your hands work too. Praise be to Allah. Thank the Lord for that's the indebtedness that we have to him. Thank him. Thank him. He says love is that force that causes one to create for the object of that love. God created a world for us. A God who does good out of love.
That's right.
Not because you are who you are, only because he loves. I'm going to do this. I don't know how much time I got left, but 1 John says, well, the New Testament, right, is called a testament of love.
Come on.
Cambridge defines the word testament as proof. Proof of love. Or love also equals God. So proof of God.
That's right. Okay.
1 John 4:6-12, it says, we are of God. He that knoweth God heareth us. He that is not of God heareth us not. Hereby know we the spirit of truth and the spirit of error. Beloved, let us love one another. For love is of God, and every one that loveth is born of God. Let me repeat that. Everyone that loveth is born of God and knoweth God. He that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love. In this was manifested the love of God toward us, because that God sent his only begotten Son into the world that we might live through him. This is proof of God. This is the testament of God. Jesus was that one to prove God, who God is.
That's right.
To prove his existence, to prove his love. So God gave his only begotten Son. He gave him unto us, and then he took him from us. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Because we got a work to do.
Yes, ma'am.
We got to love like he loves. So herein is love. Not that we love God, but that he loved us. He sent his Son to be the propitiation for our sins. If God loved us, we also ought to love one another.
Yes, ma'am.
Then we got to think about Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
That's right. That's right.
He also showed us the meaning of love.
Yes, ma'am.
And we have to bear witness to that.
That's right. That's right.
Nasifar Muhammad say, no, get rid of them. Let's go. Let's go start over somewhere else.
Right.
He says, if you destroy them, you destroy me with them.
That's right.
That's love.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
This man wanted to see us free and was willing to go through prison time,
Right.
being chased by hypocrites,
Right.
lost here, lost there, being turned over by his own family. But he did this out of love for us.
Yes, ma'am.
Minister Farrakhan said, if I did not love God with all my heart, my strength, and my soul, I could not have withstood what we put on him.
Right. No way.
He says, if I did not love God and the mission and the resurrection of black people in America and all over the world, white people would have destroyed me a long time ago.
Right.
But he says, here I stand.
Right.
Risen.
And with his power, he raised me.
That's right.
Praise.
So I have a few more words to close out with. It says, our love, and this comes from the study guide. He says, our love for God, and this is just some practical application on how we can grow in love.
Yes, ma'am.
Our love for Allah is nurtured from repetition of acts of devotion to him. Each time we pray and draw the incredible feeling of happiness and satisfaction that comes from prayer, our love for him grows. Each thing we do in his way increases our love. And as our love for him grows, we recognize him as the true center of our existence and the source of balance for our lives. Once we are right with him, and only when we are right with him, do we have a hope of right relations with others. Minister goes on, says, God is the essence of love itself. There is no love without God. And if God is not involved in our life, then love is not involved in us, and the words we use are mockery.
Real talk.
So we always have to analyze why we say what we say. Do I mean it? Am I being intentional with the words that I say and with my actions? Ms. Farrakhan says, I'm a young God growing up in the classroom of God.
That's right. That's
Real
right.
talk.
That's right.
Malcolm was in the classroom for 12 years and he shook the world.
That's right.
Muhammad Ali stayed in the class for about 10 years and he shook the world.
That's right.
How many years have you and I been in this mission? Are we shaking the world?
Come on. Come
And
on.
if we are not, then we need to check something out
Right.
in regards to what we're doing. Muhammad Ali had a gift, which allowed to put him on the front stage. Malcolm X, what was his gift? His gift of speech. All we got to do is go out there and share the words and teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and make ourselves known.
That's all you gotta do.
Get into the highways and the byways,
That's right.
That's
Come
right.
on.
grocery stores,
Good work.
we're clothing malls.
Right.
Let's go somewhere and make ourselves known. Not because we want the big name,
Right.
but because we love. How many of us can follow him in the heat of the day? He says, and in closing, this was from Savior's Day, when the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan spoke to the youth. And he says, this is what he told me to tell you. Did you get the message? I love you. And no, you can't say more. Be kind and loving to each other. And the best way to live is with the word all in your head, governing your speech, governing how you talk, how you walk, how you live. And then Satan will say, those are some Negroes we won't be able to trick. Don't let him win. He is a loser.
That's right.
I thank you all, brothers and sisters, for allowing me this opportunity to share these few words with you. I leave you as I came before you, reading words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. Praise be to Allah. I'm going to bring Brother Zaki back up to take us further into our program. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.